The chaotic scene outside a Baltimore courthouse Wednesday, shortly after a judge declared a hung jury in the first Freddie Gray trial. Hi, everyone. I'm Contessa Brewer. Calls for calm across Baltimore tonight after 12 jurors failed to reach a unanimous verdict on any of the 4 charges against police officer William Porter. Here's a live aerial view right now of the streets of Baltimore. Now, we've seen small groups of demonstrators gather and march. We've not seen any big skirmishes, and we haven't seen any violence, but the police officers are wary. A few months ago in April, the streets erupted in riots following the death of Freddie Gray. Officer Porter has been accused of failing to get medical help for Gray, who died after suffering a severe spinal cord injury while in police custody. The prosecution is expected to request a retrial, and that request is expected to happen Thursday. Gray's death back in April sparked violent protests and riots throughout Baltimore, as we said. And now, of course, the city's bracing for the possibility of more unrest. Kris Van Cleave is in Baltimore with the latest.
Baltimore sheriff's deputies took down a demonstrator outside the courthouse. It was a tense but largely peaceful atmosphere after 7 African-American and 5 white jurors were unable to agree on any of the 4 charges against Officer William Porter, including second-degree assault and involuntary manslaughter. Demonstrator Archie Williams was outraged.
What do you think this says about justice?
I say it looks like Ronald McDonald. It's a real bad joke.
Freddie Gray died from injuries suffered while riding in a police van. Officer Porter was present at 5 of the 6 stops the van made. Porter did not buckle Gray in despite police department guidelines, and prosecutors alleged Porter did not call for medical help. Lawyer Billy Murphy represents the Gray family.
If the family's not angry, no one else should be angry. And I think the family has a bigger stake in this than almost anybody else.
City officials have vowed to avoid a repeat of last spring's violent protests. Today, Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake pleaded for calm.
If we believe in justice, must have respect for the outcome of the judicial process. This is our American system of justice.
And Kris Van Cleave is on the phone now. So, Kris, I know that you've moved your location. Can you give me a sense of what the Baltimore city leaders, what the police force is doing to prepare for the reaction tonight?
Well, the police have made it very clear that they are stepping up enforcement, that they have extra officers out here working and have brought in officers from the state police and surrounding agencies to be prepared if they need additional resources. So there's a very strong police presence. We're sitting not far from City Hall, and when I look at City Hall, you see the Christmas tree, and then you see a line of Baltimore City police officers. And if you look behind where our location is the police station, and ringing the police station is a line of Baltimore City Police. So there are a lot of officers out. There is a high police presence, and the message from city leaders and from the police is if you want to demonstrate, that is fine. You need to do it peacefully, which means not disrupting traffic, not acting out violently. If you want to demonstrate, you want to protest, that's fine. And what we've seen tonight, for the most part, Contessa, is people demonstrating peacefully.
We've mentioned
they sort of took over our live shot earlier tonight, but still it was a peaceful demonstration.
Yeah. So, in fact, I wanted to ask you about that because we mentioned minor skirmishes, and some of the video that your photographer shot outside of the courthouse is illustrative of that. Let me play it and then talk to you on the other side, okay, Kris?
Yes.
We need justice for Freddie Gray!
What are you doing? Hey, get out of here! Get him! They can't do that, man! They can't do that! We ain't going there! We're not going there! Back up! Back up! Back up!
Kris, did you have any sense of what was happening there with the guy that sheriff's deputies took down?
Sure, Contessa. So that video was maybe 20, 25 minutes after this hung jury announcement had been made. And we had seen that demonstrator had been out and around several times. He's around the scene there, talking to that line of police officers. He had a bullhorn. At points was chanting obscenities at police. At other points was chanting things like "Justice for Freddie Gray." And leading up to that moment, he was not very far from photojournalist Brian Fox and I. And we didn't hear him say anything. He certainly could have made a gesture, but something brought the police over there. A friend of his had the bullhorn at that point. It was chanting "Justice for Freddie Gray." But the officers moved over en masse. They charged him, and they brought him down.
And we were actually watching as well, Kris, when you decided that you were going to move the scene of your live report. I want to play some of that as well.
If you truly wanted to know what's good, you would have been here when the demands were being made to prevent this.
May not yell at me.
That's called tone policing. That's also offensive. So maybe you should just check yourself before you come into black communities, because obviously you don't know how to carry yourself. Have a good night. Do you have an email that I can use? Absolutely. I can send you a book list to you. That would be great.
Yeah. Law enforcement bill of rights. We need that amended.
It's just that you should educate yourself before you come into black communities, talking about what you think happens.
I'm sincerely asking you, what do you think the solution is?
That's what we need. We need 15 House bills that the state delegates kick to the curb because they are funded by the FOP and they don't give a damn about the black community.
CBS?
They don't care about the black community. The state delegates don't care about us.
Excuse me. We're about to shut this down in about 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to wrap this up. You got 2 minutes to wrap this up.
Story on Keith Davis Jr.
All right, things clearly were getting tense among the crowd around you there, Kris. Give me a sense of the atmosphere and the environment.
Well, in the sense that one moment you are getting ready to go on TV and sort of almost out of nowhere you're surrounded by people. That moment, can be a little startling. But it wasn't. It's just part of what happens when you're doing live television sometimes. And I understand that people are angry, and there is a real sense of injustice about what has happened in the Freddie Gray case and how the police in Baltimore deal with the public in Baltimore. And some of those issues as far as police use of violence, use of force, have been simmering for a long time here. The relations between the Baltimore City Police and the citizens, particularly of West Baltimore, is at best tense. And so there's a real level of anger here locally, and we've seen it across the country about these incidents of how police have used force, particularly in certain communities.
Kris Van Cleave reporting tonight from Baltimore as we continue to watch the calls for protest grow, for people to take to the street. And as we've said, for the most part, what we have seen are minor skirmishes, nothing of major violence to note here, that things are calm and peaceful as of this hour. Kris, thank you.